Long ago, people lived in the land we now call Iran. The first people came to this area about 1 million years ago. They were early humans who made simple stone tools. They lived in caves and hunted animals for food. These people moved around from place to place looking for food and water. Around 4000 BC, a group called the Elamites started to build cities in southwestern Iran. They were very smart people who knew how to write and make beautiful things from metal. The Elamites built two important cities called Susa and Anshan. Susa was on flat land, and Anshan was in the mountains. The Elamites were not like the Iranian people who came later. They spoke their own language that was different from all other languages. The Elamites were good at making bronze tools and weapons. They also learned to write using marks on clay tablets. This helped them keep records of their business and tell stories. The Elamites fought with their neighbors in Mesopotamia, which is now Iraq. Sometimes they won, and sometimes they lost these battles. The Elamite people lived for thousands of years in Iran. They built big palaces and temples for their kings and gods. They were good at making jewelry and beautiful art. Even though they are gone now, the Elamites were very important. They were the first people to build a real civilization in Iran. Later people who came to Iran learned many things from what the Elamites had built. Around 700 BC, new people came to live in Iran. These people were called Iranians or Aryans. They came from the north and brought horses with them. One group of these Iranian people were called the Medes. The Medes were the first Iranian people to build a big kingdom in Iran. A king named Deioces brought all the Median tribes together to make one strong kingdom. This happened around 700 BC. The Medes chose a city called Ecbatana as their capital. This city is now called Hamadan in modern Iran. The king built a big palace with many walls around it. Each wall was painted a different color to make it look beautiful. The Medes were very good fighters. They had to fight against the Assyrians who lived in Mesopotamia. The Assyrians were very strong and had been trying to control the Iranian people for many years. But the Medes became stronger and stronger. In 612 BC, they helped destroy the Assyrian capital city of Nineveh. This was a great victory for the Medes. The Medes were also good at making things from gold and other metals. They made beautiful cups and jewelry. The Medes ruled Iran for about 150 years. They were important because they were the first Iranian people to create a big empire. They also helped spread Iranian culture and the Zoroastrian religion. Later, the Persian king Cyrus would take over the Median Empire and make it part of his own kingdom. Around 550 BC, a young Persian king named Cyrus started to build the biggest empire the world had ever seen. Cyrus was a grandson of the last Median king. He was very smart and a great military leader. Cyrus first defeated his grandfather and took control of the Median kingdom. This was the beginning of the Persian Empire. Cyrus was different from other kings of his time. He was kind to the people he conquered. He let them keep their own religions and ways of life. This made many people happy to be part of his empire. Cyrus also freed the Jewish people from Babylon and let them go back to their homeland. He even helped them rebuild their temple in Jerusalem. Cyrus conquered many lands very quickly. He defeated the kingdom of Lydia in what is now Turkey. Then he conquered the great city of Babylon in 539 BC. The Cyrus cylinder, a clay tablet made at this time, tells us about his victories. Cyrus created a system of provinces ruled by governors called satraps. This helped him control his huge empire. The Persian Empire under Cyrus was enormous. It stretched from India in the east to Greece in the west. It included parts of 3 continents, Asia, Africa, and Europe. Cyrus built good roads to connect all parts of his empire. He also created a postal system so messages could travel quickly. Cyrus died in battle in 530 BC, but his empire continued to grow under his son and other kings. After Cyrus died, his son Cambyses became king. Cambyses conquered Egypt and added it to the Persian Empire. But the greatest Persian king was Darius the Great, who ruled from 522 to 486 BC. Darius made the Persian Empire bigger and stronger than ever before. Darius was a very good organizer. He divided the empire into 20 provinces called satrapies. Each province had a governor called a satrap, who collected taxes and kept order. Darius built many roads to connect the empire. The most famous was a royal road, which was over 1,600 miles long. Darius also created a standard system of money and weights. The Persian Empire under Darius was huge. It reached from the Indus Valley in India to northern Greece. The empire had more than 20 different nations. Each nation could keep its own customs and religion as long as it paid taxes to the Persian king. This made the empire peaceful and stable. Darius built 2 beautiful capital cities. One was at Susa, and the other at Persepolis. Persepolis was especially magnificent, with huge palaces and sculptures. Artists and workers from all over the empire helped build these cities. The Persian kings lived in great luxury. They called themselves King of Kings because they ruled over so many other kings. The Achaemenid Empire was the world's first superpower. It controlled important trade routes and had a strong army. The Persian Empire became so big that it reached the Greek cities in Asia Minor. The Greeks did not want to be ruled by the Persians. In 499 BC, the Greek cities rebelled against Persian rule. This started a long series of wars between Persia and Greece. Darius tried to punish the Greeks by invading Greece itself. In 490 BC, Persian armies landed at Marathon near Athens, but the Greeks surprised everyone by defeating the much larger Persian army. This was a shocking defeat for the Persians, who thought they could not be beaten. Darius's son Xerxes tried again to conquer Greece. In 480 BC, he brought a huge army across the sea to Greece. At first, the Persians won some battles, but then the Greeks defeated the Persian navy at Salamis. Later, they defeated the Persian army at Plataea. These defeats ended Persian hopes of conquering Greece. The Persian Empire grew weaker over time. There were fights over who should be king. The empire also faced rebellions in different provinces. In 334 BC, a young king from Macedonia named Alexander the Great invaded the Persian Empire. Alexander was one of the greatest military leaders in history. He defeated the last Persian king, Darius III, at the Battle of Gaugamela in 331 BC. Alexander then conquered all the Persian Empire. He burned the great palace at Persepolis to show that Persian power was ended. This was the end of the Achaemenid Empire after more than 200 years. When Alexander conquered Iran, he tried to mix Greek and Persian cultures. He married a Persian princess and made his soldiers marry Persian women. Alexander wanted to create a new empire that combined the best of both worlds. But Alexander died young in 323 BC, and his empire was divided among his generals. For almost 80 years, Greek kings called the Seleucids ruled Iran. They built Greek cities and brought Greek culture to Iran. But many Iranian people did not like being ruled by foreigners. They wanted their own kings again. Around 247 BC, an Iranian people called the Parthians started a rebellion. The Parthians came from northeastern Iran. Their first king was named Arsaces. The Parthians slowly conquered more and more land from the Greek kings. Under King Mithridates I, they took control of most of Iran and Mesopotamia. The Parthian Empire became very powerful. It controlled the Silk Road, the important trade route between China and Rome. This made the Parthians very rich. The Parthians were famous for their horse soldiers who could shoot arrows while riding. They fought many wars with the Roman Empire. Sometimes the Parthians won, and sometimes the Romans won. The Parthians ruled Iran for almost 500 years. They let local kings rule different parts of the empire. The Parthians also allowed people to keep their own religions and customs. They built many beautiful cities and palaces. But by 200 AD, the Parthian Empire was getting weaker because of civil wars and pressure from Rome. In 224 AD, a Persian king named Ardashir defeated the last Parthian king. Ardashir started a new dynasty called the Sassanids. The Sassanids wanted to bring back the glory of the old Persian Empire. They called their empire Iranshar, which means Empire of the Iranians. The Sassanids made Zoroastrianism the official religion of Iran. Zoroastrianism was an ancient Iranian religion started by a prophet named Zoroaster. Zoroastrians believe in one good god called Ahura Mazda. They also believe there is an evil spirit that fights against good. Zoroastrians think people must choose between good and evil. The Sassanid Empire was very well organized. It had a strong central government with many officials. The Sassanids built many beautiful buildings and supported art and learning. They translated books from Greek and Indian languages into Persian. The Sassanids also built a strong army to fight against their enemies. The Sassanids fought many wars with the Roman Empire and later the Byzantine Empire. These wars went on for hundreds of years. Sometimes the Sassanids conquered Roman cities, and sometimes the Romans attacked Iranian cities. The constant fighting made both empires weak. The last great Sassanid king was Khosrow II, who ruled until 628 AD. After he died, there was chaos in the empire. 10 different people claimed to be king in just 4 years. This made the Sassanid Empire very weak. The Sassanids had ruled Iran for over 400 years, but their time was coming to an end. In 633 AD, Arab Muslim armies began attacking the Sassanid Empire. The Arabs came from the Arabian Peninsula and had recently been united under the new religion of Islam. They wanted to spread their religion to other lands. The Sassanid Empire was weak from civil wars and could not defend itself well. The Muslims first attacked the western parts of the Sassanid Empire in what is now Iraq. In 636 AD, they won a great victory at the Battle of Qadisiyah. This battle destroyed the main Sassanid army. The Muslim general Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas led about 8,000 Muslim soldiers against 60,000 Persians. Despite being outnumbered, the Muslims won because they were better organized and more determined. After this victory, the Muslims quickly conquered the rest of Iran. They captured the Sassanid capital at Ctesiphon. By 651 AD, the last Sassanid king, Yazid III, was killed and the empire ended. Some members of the royal family escaped to China. Many Iranians fought against the Arab invaders. They rebelled in many cities and killed Arab governors. But the Muslims always sent more soldiers to put down these rebellions. Slowly, many Iranians began to convert to Islam. The Arabs allowed Iranians to keep their Persian language and many of their customs. But Zoroastrianism, which had been the main religion for over 1,000 years, began to decline. The Islamic conquest changed Iran forever, but Iranian culture survived and mixed with Islamic culture. For many centuries after the Islamic conquest, Iran was ruled by different Muslim dynasties. Some were Arab, some were Turkish, and some were Mongol. In 1219, the Mongols led by Genghis Khan invaded Iran. The Mongol invasion was terrible for Iran. They destroyed many cities and killed millions of people. Later, other invaders like Timur also attacked Iran. In 1501, a new Iranian dynasty called the Safavids came to power. The first Safavid king was Shah Ismail I. The Safavids were very important because they made Iran an independent country again after many centuries. They also made Shia Islam the official religion of Iran. Most Muslims in the world are Sunni Muslims, but the Safavids chose Shia Islam. Shia Muslims believe that Ali, the cousin of Prophet Muhammad, should have been the first leader of all Muslims. This difference in belief has caused conflicts between Iran and other Muslim countries. The Safavids forced all Iranians to become Shia Muslims. The Safavids built a strong empire. Their capital was in Isfahan, which became one of the most beautiful cities in the world. The Safavids were famous for their art, especially their carpets and tiles. They also built many beautiful mosques and palaces. The Safavids controlled all of modern Iran and parts of neighboring countries. The greatest Safavid king was Shah Abbas I, who ruled from 1588 to 1629. He built up the army and made Iran wealthy through trade. The Safavids ruled until 1736. They were very important because they created modern Iran as a Shia Muslim country. After Safavids, Iran was ruled by other dynasties like the Qajars. The Qajar kings were weak, and Iran lost much land to Russia and Britain. In 1921, an army officer named Reza Khan took power. In 1925, he became the new king and started the Pahlavi dynasty. Reza Shah wanted to make Iran modern like European countries. He built roads, schools, and factories. He also made laws that gave women more rights. His son, Mohammad Reza Shah, continued these changes. In the 1960s, Mohammad Reza started the White Revolution to modernize Iran even more. He gave land to farmers and built more schools. But many Iranians were not happy with the Shah. They thought he was too close to Western countries like America. Religious leaders did not like his modern changes. In 1979, millions of Iranians protested against the Shah. The protests were led by a religious leader named Ayatollah Khomeini. In February 1979, the Shah left Iran and never came back. Ayatollah Khomeini returned from exile and became the new leader. Iran became an Islamic republic. This meant that religious leaders would control the government. The 1979 revolution ended 2,500 years of kings ruling Iran. Since 1979, Iran has been ruled by Islamic religious leaders. The country has faced many challenges, including war with Iraq from 1980 to 1988. Iran today is still an Islamic republic where religion plays a big role in government. The Iranian people have kept their Persian language and culture through all these changes in history.